It's Wednesday again. This is the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. I'm DM Foss, and tonight we've got G-Webs with Pupper Tony. How's it going?
Oh, that's not a sanctioned name, but it's going good. Thanks for the link.
Guns and Barbecue, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Have a mild headache happening right now, but other than that, not too terrible. Thank you for the invite.
Is that because you lost so bad on the tactical quiz earlier?
Oh no, I got to the show at like 12:03. You were whining that nobody was showing up, and you were crinkling up paper. I was like, oh, I missed it, and then I jumped out.
Oh, because then everybody jumped in and won. It was crazy. I can't make patches fast enough now for all the winners.
He's all out of patches. He doesn't have any more.
Oh, see? Hindsight's 20/20 and the fool is blind.
All the patches are in my sack right now.
See? Well, see? I'm going to have to reach into your sack. I'm going to have to reach into your sack. Bend over, touch your toes.
Well, you can grab a sack later. So, Baron, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. I'm beating the crap out of AI robots. It's my new job.
The old school robot taking on the new school robots.
Mm-hmm.
Out there, we had Artak and Daughters, Gun Websites, Gizzard Gary, Tara Smith's Kitchen, Roy Munson, Wesley Foster is here, Ozzy Orisborn barking at the moon. I remembered. Down at the bottom of the screen, there's a scroll with the email address, untacticalfoss@gmail.com, and a link. You can submit comments, suggestions, or photos within reason. And also, there's a link in the description for the Guilded server. It's another place you can hang out, chit-chat, message me, message Baron or some of the other guys. Just a place to hang out, have some fun. And just trying to remember if if you watch this in replay, leave a comment. Anything we talk about, agree with, disagree with. Comments are always appreciated, and I read them all. I think I got everything this time, and at the beginning.
That's it. We'll have to snip that.
We're doing good. All righty. This week's poll. There we go.
Is attached to Baron's sack. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. It was too easy. I'm sorry.
So, have you seen a UFO? 48% said yes. 27% said I was probed. And 24% said no. I did when I was a kid. It was a ring of 5 lights. Friend and I were outside in the yard, and lights kind of flew over us. Couldn't hear any sound, and it scared the crap out of us, and we ran inside. So don't know what it was. Haven't seen anything like it since. Have you guys seen any unexplained objects?
Yes, pretty often. I'm not sure there's aliens in them, but I don't know what the hell they are.
What are you seeing?
Just weird aircraft, but I used to live next to a air base, so I don't know if they're testing shit or who knows. I did see a, I guess you'd call it a shooting star, but it impacted. It didn't burn up. That was when I was heading over the Cascades. I think I've told that one before, right? It lit up the sky like it was daytime. And I thought we were getting nuked. I was like, oh, fuck. I guess this is it. It's over.
Yeah, I've never seen one that hit, but, I've seen the flash, a streak and a flash. And, and usually it's when you're not looking. So it's all of a sudden you see something, boom. And so it's like, there's no time to take your phone out and video or anything.
If there were aliens in that, I don't think they survived the impact.
Roswell. Yep. Every time. I've seen two, and the one I should have gotten the dash cam footage of because I was in my semi, and we had just gotten dash cams in the trainer trucks, and I just didn't think about it. But the very first one that I had ever seen, trying to think, it would have been 2009, 2010, maybe. I was driving home from my buddy's house. It was late, and was getting out to the end of South Mosertown Road, and I was coming right up to the end of the road towards the stop sign, and up over the highway, I noticed this large orange glowing object. I was like, what in the world is that? But it was just like hovering there. So I pulled over and I just sat and I just watched it for like 5 minutes. I honestly don't even know if it was 5 minutes. I just sat there and watched it for a little bit. Could have been 5 minutes, could have been 15 minutes. I didn't really keep track of time. And it just hovered there for a little bit, and all of a sudden it just shot off, just out of nowhere, just took off and was gone. I mean, like in the blink of an eye. Never seen anything move that quick. I can't explain it. Yeah. The second one, I was headed home. Like I said, this one I was in the semi for, and I was coming off of I-376 west to get on I-80 east. I was headed home. I think it was 8 o'clock at night, maybe 9. It was a Friday night, and honestly, I feel like I should be able to friggin' Google something about it. I mean, there should be, reports somewhere. Like somebody should have been making 911 calls, and the thing was so massive. Like photographs should have been taken. People should have been losing their fucking minds, because I distinctly remember there were 9 really large lights on it. They were in a triangular pattern. And they, I want to say they were low to the ground. Like, they were definitely higher than the trees. I don't want to say like, oh, they were just above the trees. But the size of the object made it deceptive as to just how close to the ground it was, but yeah, I mean, it was friggin' huge. And the thing that struck me about it later, like I said, that would have been probably 2017. Yeah, 2017, maybe. Early, I'm trying to think. Yeah, 2017, because it was 2018 that I lost my vision. So, yeah, that would have been summer of 2017. So, it was a couple of years after that. I saw something. Was it National Geographic or Science Channel? I don't remember what, but they had done a UFOs explained. I don't remember what, but they were talking about UFO reports exactly like that. And it just fucking blew my mind. I was like, that's exactly what I fucking saw.
And did they explain it?
No.
What a ripoff.
No shit.
Yeah, I've never had anybody that I've known that has seen one of the triangle ones like you're describing.
By the way, welcome to the chat, DJ Play Nice.
What's happening, Baron?
Apparently, a lot of our viewers get probed.
By Baron's Hole.
Yeah, so down in the comments, Guns and Barbecue said the Men in Black threatened me to stay silent, pay no attention to the satellite dish that occasionally protrudes from my ass. Prince Vegeta-san said, I have video to prove it. The goddamn bacon said, I plead the fifth, and not because I'm black. Hey,
I have a question.
It just get dark in here? Yes.
The video proof, is that of the abduction or the probing? Because not sure we want to see that.
Becker's like, you weren't supposed to show anybody that.
I mean, that's why I paid him.
Though I did over a series of days in Mexico, it was poorly insulated power lines. Hancho Fett, Senator, I can neither confirm nor deny this information. Wilbo said, Kentucky Lake, April 2022. I have pictures. Vanessa Kitty. In Alaska, one winter, a bunch of us rented the cabins in base. That weekend, we saw the same spherical lights moving around. Crazy, unexplained then. New York Outcast said, I'd be shocked if people could identify everything they've ever seen in the sky. Wood said, alien abduction has the same rules as Fight Club. And Vanessa again said Alaska, Arizona, and Texas. I don't know if, I would believe that there has to be life out there somewhere else. I just don't know if they're coming here to see us.
Are we surprised that more of our audience was probed than said they have not seen a UFO?
No.
Well, I guess on the fact that it doesn't actually specify that you had to be probed by an alien.
So they're all over 40.
I got it if they didn't.
No, I got it.
Right on. Must be over 40.
Yeah. I haven't done
Barbecue's
it.
not.
I haven't done it, but
Me either.
I'm supposed to. Gizzard Gary said he saw some aliens, but it was a Home Depot parking lot. Have a good night, Tara.
Did they probe him? What is the going rate for a Home Depot parking lot probing?
Oh,
Gary
20
rolls
bucks is
up.
20 bucks.
Gary rolls up. Travajo? Probo? Travajo?
Who got
pollo.
paid, by the way?
I'm gonna say if they probed him, they're checking the internal temp. They're seeing if he was done.
Gary's probably got one of those little plastic timer ones that pop up. Oh, it's something that I find interesting. I like watching shows about it. I don't know if I believe it, but it's like, kind of like Bigfoot and those shows. I like to watch them. I seem to like to watch things where there's no great proof, and there's probably never going to be proof. I don't know, like the Curse of Oak Island about the treasure. I tape that, record that. I guess you don't tape it anymore, but I'll record that and then to watch later. And I don't think there's a treasure there. If there was, it's long gone. But I don't know, I find it interesting to watch. I used to watch the Ghost Hunters. For some reason, still like to watch it.
I like Ghost Hunters. Like Curse of Oak Island, some of those ones. Skinwalker Ranch. Some of those I find to be just too scripted. I'm just like, it just kills it for me if it was a bit more natural.
Yeah, I won't watch any of the reenactment garbage ones.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like reenactment ones, I don't even think bother me so much. Like if it's like just Susie said this happened, and they're like, and then they show two aliens coming down, and they're like, "Come with us," and then they're like, the aliens took her in the ship, and they shoved it up her ass. And, like they don't actually show her getting probed or anything, but they're like, the two aliens did this to her, and they're like, "Oh well." And then she comes out of the ship like holding her butt, like, "Ow, ow."
Oh, well, I'll clarify. Speaking ones.
Is he breaking up for everyone or just me?
Me a little bit as well.
Everyone.
So now that there's drones that have GPS stabilization, and
I might lose my signal here in a second.
Uh-oh.
Try turning your camera off.
Hold on. It's teetering
Tied
there.
to your dreams.
They can't stop the signal.
Can you guys hear me? Am I roboting?
No, you sound great.
Pretty bad.
Oh, I heard him fine there.
He's gone.
Yeah, he was crystal for me. His video was locked up. Hopefully he can jump right back in.
Yeah, he's gone now.
Somebody in his neighborhood's downloading some bedtime material. So what were you saying about drones, G-Web? Stabilization?
yeah, now that there's drones and they can hover and they don't have any G requirements that a human pilot would need. What's the odds that everything they were playing with back in the day was the preliminary to this stuff? So if it wasn't exactly what we have today, it was similarities. We can emulate most of the characteristics that people say, oh, it couldn't be a regular airplane because of this and that.
Yeah, like if you put a human being in that craft, it would literally turn their brain into mush.
Yeah, like a lot of times back in the olden days, the UFOs was like, oh, nothing can turn that fast. No planes we have can do that. Like that's faster than we can go, but it's not faster than the jet can go. And before jets, like all you had to have was a jet powered plane in the
I don't
days
know
of
if
the
you.
pipelines, and you'd look like an alien.
It's like the Messerschmitts. When our
The first technology is always going to look like an alien, right? And then it's like a couple of weeks later, they go, "Oh, they're a new plane." But at first they're like, "Oh shit, what is this?"
There's
Anyway, that's all I'm saying.
recordings of the pilots. What the hell was that? And and then getting yelled at, get off the comm line. But
Welcome to the show, Iron Road.
Yeah, what I missed.
No one got probed while you were gone, I don't think.
That's
Speak
good.
up.
Darn it. I was really trying.
I've got that.
Am I the only one in the dark here?
You're the only blind one.
Oh, that's what's going on.
I got that that piece so I can hook that router up, and I just forgot to do that. So maybe someday I'll figure out how to get stable signal out here. But,
I was thinking like a router, not a internet router. I was thinking like a wood router.
Oh no.
New York Outcast says he keeps stealing the internet from the poor people next door, so he's lucky it works at all.
As long as they pay their bill, he's good to go.
Like how New York Outcast is out there now. Him and I were in Rick's after chat. Rick jumped out, and then New York Outcast was just like, boom, gone. Didn't even say bye or anything. See how it is.
So my experience was one time we were driving and we left a place. It was out. I don't know if everybody's driven out in the middle of the West, but you can go to places where there's nothing. You just drive out into the black and your headlights, are where you're going. So we left a place and we were gone for quite a while. And then we got to the next place and we still had a full tank of gas. And we were like, how did we get all the way over here with a full tank of gas? And it was a little weird. So that was my experience where I think that's unexplainable. That essentially go a whole tank of gas worth of driving, and either we both forgot that we stopped and got the tank of gas and paid for it somehow, or something else happened and we went, let's say, essentially from like Texas to Albuquerque without using any gas.
So were you in Arizona when the Phoenix lights happened?
Yeah, but I don't live in Phoenix. I live down in Tucson. We're like an hour or something drive away. So technically, yes, but.
Well, I not so much if you saw them, but just curious if you were there and then heard what people were saying about it.
Those ended up being drones, right?
To me, the footage I saw looks like flares.
It's hard to say. So
I thought they never confirmed
the scale, and then the idea that the place between them blacked out the stars behind them means that there was something in between and not just triangles. At least that's the stories you hear, are the versions of it. But it's difficult to say. We live in an area of the country where they will test stuff, and it's not like the government has to own something to test. Somebody smart can go in their backyard and test something that they hope to sell to the military one day, right? And they're still playing with a weird robot in their backyard. The military doesn't own it yet. They don't even know about it yet, but it's still being created. So it's possible that somebody was just messing with drones, because hives, right, or whatever that's called. Isn't it called hives when they fly all together, or is it swarming? So it could have just been some, now we don't think about it, but you can swarm them. You can tell this drone to be at the point duck and every other drone to just fall in line behind it in some pattern.
Well, originally
that's what they were all about. Actually, I knew a bunch of people that went to school for making drones work together as hives to do things.
If you look at the nighttime displays with the drones and the lights, and the patterns, it's crazy.
Yeah, they do them for the 4th of July now. Have you seen that?
Yeah, you're talking like just like interesting light displays. Imagine if that was a weaponized thing that was mean, because they can do that.
I do remember seeing like a highly advertised, or not advertised, but it was like probably like a production for a movie where it's like a guy comes out and does like a Steve Jobs TED Talk type of platform, and he puts a drone in his hand, and this little drone, it turns on, it flies out of his hand, it looks at him, and it looks at a mannequin. It's programmed to go hit and attack the mannequin, and it just goes zzz, pop, and then it puts a hole into the mannequin's head or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen
But we can put a sign that says like no assassin drone zone, then you're okay. It's illegal.
I've seen Elon talk about that.
The one thing, though, that I take some real glee from is that apparently that they were field testing some AI stuff with the military. And I don't know if you guys saw this in the Stars and Stripes or Task and Purpose, but Task and Purpose did the dropped a story where they were field testing the AI, and they placed a bet, the engineers that built the code and all that other stuff, that their AI could identify them before they could even get within arm's reach of their drone and touch it. The Marines took them up on that bet. And what they did was unconventional, to say the least. They started from a distance of 1,000 yards and proceeded to make their way to the drone doing somersaults, cartwheels, even into the point of basically just extending their arms and turning around back behind so the drone can't see their face, and just slowly, inch by inch, making it move closer, and to which the AI drone just identified that particular person as a tree and beat the AI system. And then they wanted to redo, and this time the jarheads decided they do the legit sneak and hide in a box and got all the way to the drone and touched it.
Best weapon for home drone defense? Shotgun with birdshot? What do you think? Because you just need to take out the propellers.
No. Oh, you're talking about that kind of drone. They're not going to send those kind of drones. I guess you could say yes to that, because you got to take out the propellers or even a motor or something, and you could do that.
I was going to
Take
say
out its brains or something, but you got to get deeper into a robot to actually kill it. You can't just take out its, or hope to take out like a shell on the outside.
it's mobility, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I'm sure robots can walk just fine with 3 legs instead of 4. You know, they're going to fly pretty good with 3 propellers instead of 4.
The consumer ones, the cheaper ones. I've seen, a couple of videos where there's like Hawks will take them down. So those, no problem. The commercial ones, the big ones with, the carbon fiber rotors, and probably take a little more than a birdshot.
Yeah, you want
Well,
buckshot.
a drone is like imagine like a plastic model kit, like a model car kit, with like some fairly lightweight, motors and some batteries in it. But it's almost that fragile. Like it's almost like a model kit. It's just a little bit stronger than a model kit. So yeah, it wouldn't be tough to knock them down in the sky and break it.
Best gun
I'm personally
for alien invasion.
The easiest way to protect is you put up restaurant signs around your house, and so they can't make it past a restaurant sign. They'll hit it and then fall down.
That's low.
I'm personally in the favor of, it's like, why not just do like what they do with mosquito or gill nets for trawling and stuff? have like a point reference and you just shoot it out of a cannon and just get multiple, aerial drones in one shot.
Or you could put hippie beads in every doorway.
Just going to toss this out there. We probably shouldn't talk about these things. AI is going to data log all this and be like, all right, this is how it's going to beat us. So we got to build up defenses, and then we won't be able to beat the AI and destroy the drones.
Wasn't one of the branches testing lasers and microwaves and stuff besides like tossing gill nets up into the air?
Well, they've got the electronic rifles.
Yeah, you
to
can
take
jam
down
the
drones.
signal.
Yeah.
Air Force.
Okay, there you are. So about like burst EMP stuff, is that like part of that protocol, or is that something they can do?
I don't know. I'm still not sure because the EMP stuff was a little bit overblown, but I'm not sure where it is actually at.
Are you telling me I don't need all these aluminum foil lined ammo cans with radios in them?
Yeah, you don't need the hat.
A lot of people
just
don't
yet.
realize, I remember when my mother saw one of those Alex Jones, not necessarily Alex Jones, but like tinfoil hat videos where it was scaring the shit out of people to be afraid of Russia because they have the one super weapon that's going to put the entire U.S. power grid out of commission. Well, one, such a weapon is going to cost a lot of money. Two, the logistics of launching that and the U.S. not noticing is going to be rough because while we do have, I know that's kind of rich considering that we just had a couple balloons fly through here and we act as though we didn't know. We do have a really big satellite array system that watches for that, as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of people don't realize that a simple ballistic missile, nuclear missile, can achieve the same effect by having a low Earth orbit detonation near U.S. satellites, putting communication out of business, which will be far more effective than trying to impact our power grid with just one big giant EMP bomb.
Or they could get like 1,000 guys with shotguns. They just shoot up the power stations.
That too.
They've got 1 billion people. Just give them pointy sticks and then overrun us.
I like my odds with that. I need to keep loading mags though.
No way. Have you played Call of Duty Zombies? It would be like that.
So does anybody have any idea on what the power consumption would be for a limited EMP burst? Like something to say 10 square feet?
No idea.
I don't know. Because I'm wondering, because this is kind of a fascinating conversation, and check in on the drone tip if you know that sort of stuff. Not about the payload necessarily, but having something grab, if you use another drone as the delivery system for something that you could remote, trigger as a mini EMP burst, you could grab the GPS signal from a drone that's already out there, piggyback one to seek it, like G was talking about fly in formation with. You just have it seek out that, and then when it approaches, trigger an EMP, it takes out that one drone, takes out another, like kamikaze. I just don't know how big the battery or whatever it would be that would have to be suspended in the damn
So
thing.
you're saying it's not going to be
I
the
don't know what
Chinese, it's going to be the Japanese.
I don't know what the idea is, but the Chinese have a population issue because they tried to do too many boys for too long. So they don't have too many people where they're spreading out. They just have a lot of people. But they're also in a society where they have a lot of people because they have a lot of people. It's not like they had a problem and they had a lot of people. They like having a lot of people. I've heard stuff from analysts who have retired and now writing and talking about their books which are current, talking about the situation. And there's some of them say that China barely has 5 to 10 years before it's lost as an economic entity because of their dumbassness. They built cities and shit that aren't being used, right? So I don't think any of those things are wrong, but we're also the thing that buys most of their stuff, like their garbage stuff that they sell, comes to us for us to use for garbage, right? I mean, we're not the only ones, but we're a big chunk. So I just don't see them killing their biggest customer so that they have to come over here. They don't. What are they going to? They just want us to be customers more.
So here's an interesting thing that I downloaded from the internet. September 2003 is the date from the Washington Department of Health. And in their study, what is an EMP and how is it created? They found that a 1.4 megaton bomb launched about 250 miles above the state of Kansas, dead center, would destroy most of the electronics that are not protected in the entire continental United States. And during the brief, during the brief return to atmospheric testing in 1962.
I wonder how they can be sure about that without
Well,
actually testing it.
And can you divide out megatons by the coverage area of the continental United States and maybe come up with an answer? I don't know, get out your Texas Instruments, punch some buttons. I still want to know.
That was done in 1962. There's a lot more electronics now than there is in 1962. Plus, the electronics now are far more advanced than they were in 1962. So, also, going back to the Chinese thing real quick, the U.S. is also one of China's largest food importers. So if they decided to do something like that, they end up starving. So
Iron Road, do you happen to know it? So on an A6 intruder with a jammer pot,
Yep.
what's the effective area for a jammer pot?
I never
Is that
worked
public knowledge?
I never worked
What the hell
on.
fucking kind of question is that for the middle of the night? Chinese people listening to this, like making notes. What the hell?
Well,
I'm-
I'm just that
What kind
to
of
me
distance can you
that
get
would
on there,
be
guessing?
that sort of technology would be
Well,
better used in drones than EMP.
Well, here's the deal. I never worked on A6s. They were decommed a long time ago, from what I understand, way before my time in the Navy. Prowlers were decommed before they were just getting phased out, just as I was hitting the boot camp, and just as I got to A school, most of them were pretty much sent to the boneyard. They were being replaced with the EA6G. Let's hear. You got the Prowler and the Growler. So it was the EA18G Growler. Now, as far as the electronic attack capability is what the effective range is of both the A6 and the EA6B Prowler, I don't know. And even if I did, I probably would have been forced to sign a page 19 or page 9, which is a non-disclosure agreement, military agreement. So I wouldn't be able to share that information.
It's from someone who I will say from something I had heard. A city, but I don't know what size city, that it basically can jam a city flying overhead. But that sort of technology in a drone rather than an EMP to me would make more sense.
It would have to be more powerful than any electric storm, and I mean, that's like more powerful than an electric storm. You know what I mean? Like the static that's created by an electric storm would normal electronics are protected from that.
Yeah, it's not like an EMP with it's kind of frying everything. Not so much frying everything, but just scrambling everything.
So, like, how many joules? I know I'm asking a bunch of tech science questions here, and they're not the kind of things that you probably grab off the top of your head, right? But like, lightning is measured in joules, right? So, like, I'm thinking, how many joules is it to scramble, and then how do you focus a signal like that Or how is that dispersion achieved?
21
gigawatts. Isn't that the answer? you're looking for?
Nice. Nice.
I couldn't remember how many gigawatts it was.
So to answer your earlier question, I think it was DJ. How do you measure that? Put that in perspective. Fat Man dropped over in Hiroshima or Nagasaki during World War II was 2 kilotons. A Tsar bomb, Russia's largest megaton bomb, that caused so much concussion and destruction that an earthquake was felt in Europe and blasted out windows in Finland, was 50 megatons. The current largest bomb, nuclear bomb, in the United States has developed has a yield of 1.2, and that's the B-83. So to put that in perspective, a 1.4, you're talking slightly just more powerful than what the B-83 is by 0.2.
Right on, man. Appreciate that.
Oh.
I don't think we asked Iron Road if he's seen a UFO.
I have not seen any of the legendary creatures or folklore creatures that my dad and my stepdad have spoken of, whether that be aliens, Bigfoot. I've only ever seen the most exotic creature I've seen was a cougar in broad daylight, and that's about the only thing I've ever seen in broad daylight. That's an exotic predator.
Was it a walk of shame?
No doubt. I usually see them after 2 a.m.
No, this one
Daylight
was,
sightings. That's pretty rare.
No, this was like dead. We were making the drive from my grandma's house when I was just a kid, and I remember I was riding in the back of the truck that my dad gave to me, ironically, that I later wrecked. I was in the back seat and back in the car seat, and as we're going down this road, there's a road in my town called Pittsburgh Road, and we're going down Pittsburgh Road next to one of the grade schools, and off to the right as you make the turn, there's an orchard field off to the right. And I had looked over off to the right, and I saw a light brown blur, and it made its dash from the top of that hill downhill all the way to the end of the curb. My mom and my dad didn't see it, but I saw it, and it was a big cat, I tell you what. And that cat ran just as fast, if not faster, than my dad, who was not only just a bit of a tailgater, but also a speed demon too. I mean, if he wasn't a man, he was a lady. We would have been singing, "Little Old Lady from Pasadena," to put that in perspective. And
So he likes to chase cougars.
he likes to speed, and the thing is, especially when it's downhill. And the thing is, we must have clocked that cougar going downhill at 50 miles an hour.
Honcho Fed out there is asking, what about a Wukalar? I don't know what a Wukalar is.
Never heard of that. I've heard.
Never heard that one.
Is that like a didgeridoo?
Of the ones that I've heard of, though, I've heard of the Wampus Beast, the Ohio Grassman. I've heard of the Mothman, which I've been told it has more relation to Pennsylvania than West Virginia, but,
Is the Mothman like Bat Boy? From like National Enquirer sightings? Bat Boy?
No, I don't think so. Never heard of Bat Boy.
And I do
The
know
1980s movie, the 1980 movie, The Private Eyes, with Tim Conway and Don Knotts. The Wukalar is defined as a man-like creature with a pig-like face and superhuman strength.
It's almost man bear pig.
Man-bear pig.
I saw Private Eyes when I was a kid. I saw it in the theater. I don't remember anything about it.
So here, actually, in my hometown, we have a spot. It's actually Radio Tower Hill, but it's also called Pig Mountain. And local legend is if you go up there at night, you don't come back. That there's pig people up there, and the people are half people, half pig, and they're supposed to have the body of a person but the head of a pig.
You got to check this place out. Live stream it while you're going at night.
Yep.
How many views you'll get?
Just the place I need to go. Dark area in the woods, blind guy.
Is it any different than daytime
I mean,
for you?
Have you watched
have the
any-
advantage.
Yeah.
Just be careful when you hear banjos, man.
Anybody seen John Wick 4 yet?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have. I actually saw it on the day it released, and it was well worth the $10 that I paid to get in.
Well,
Will there be a fifth?
Barbecue could be like that, right?
Yeah.
There's,
So everybody's seen John Wick 4 and everybody really liked it.
I've
I've never
haven't
seen
seen it
any of
yet.
John Wick's.
I plan to at some point.
I actually should
I
see
haven't
the
been
John
to the
Wick's
movies in
are
years.
on any of the streaming services.
I kind of want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it for Guns and Barbecue.
Oh, actually, I
There's no
remembered. I have a
spoiler
question
in
for you.
answering. There's no spoiler in answering Baron's question, hypothetical there, though.
What
So
was
leave
Baron's
it open for
question?
another one.
Is
Yeah,
there a
it
fifth?
does. Stick around.
The review that I saw said that there's some talks about doing a fifth one.
Well, I thought a fifth one was confirmed. That's
I,
the thing.
They have a TV show confirmed.
Oh,
Yeah, and not the way the director's talking. I mean, they're going to lay in the weeds on that. I mean, think just opened.
Now,
Did like crazy numbers. It's like Keanu's biggest opening since the biggest Matrix movie. So
You
it's
like
like
those
70
movies,
plus
DJ?
million. Say again?
You like those movies? The Wick movies?
Yeah, there's action movies. I think they're great.
now I'm kind of wondering who's going to take Keanu, if they're going to have Keanu, because if they're going to have him for the TV spot, they're not going to have him for long because the dude's 58 years old.
from I had heard that originally he was supposed to be older in the story, and like his dog was supposed to be like 12 years old.
Oh, the
Yeah.
dog that he got, or
Yeah, he was supposed to be older, but when they brought Keanu Reeves in, he kind of changed their mind.
They're pushing him around, being violent with him, forcing him to use him instead of that old guy.
Yeah,
Was the character originally called William Money by any chance? One person got that.
Yep. I
I
figure
know the
barbecue chime in
name.
on that one.
I cannot place it.
It's the
I
guy
have-
who was Dan's boyfriend on the Brady Bunch.
I have a
Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
I have a big question though, is that when it comes to if they are going to have a John Wick #5, is who going to be in it considering the ending?
Is there going to be another complicated, elaborate series of hotels where criminals can and can't have actual warfare on the streets, and everybody else on the streets just leaves the criminals to have wars on the streets of Paris?
One of the actors
What?
died too.
Yeah, it was the
Concierge.
Concierge
of the
from the New York hotel.
from the New York
Continental.
yeah, the Continental. He
I was
passed
just
away.
spoiler. Oh, you mean for real?
In
No,
real
he-
life, yeah, he died.
Yeah, real life
IRL.
guy.
Yeah. He was great in Deadwood.
And
Anybody watch that?
Matter of fact,
That was all right.
matter of fact, if you watch on the TVs the reruns on Comcast, they'll have John Wick Parabellum playing on the TV, and on the end scene in the credits, they'll actually have a in memory the actor.
Yeah,
That's
Lance,
nice of them.
Lance Riddick was his name, the guy that died.
Thanks for that, Foss.
Well, Honcho said it. Mike McClune's out
Okay.
there. One thing got me is in the John Wick world, how many people are a part of the underworld and how many people are just normies walking around? It almost seems like it's 50-50.
That's one
There's-
thing that
It makes
got
no
me
sense.
because
Makes no
especially
sense.
like the nightclub scenes and in the airport, people are
just
shooting at each
when he's-
other.
Oh, it's a machine gun sword fight through the middle of our dance club.
When he's walking, it just in the first movie when they put the contract out on John Wick and he's walking down the street and you see the other assassins stop and then go after him. How many, you see how many people looked at him. So there's
and
It's
didn't
like,
do anything.
what's that black and white movie from a long time ago?
there's lots of them.
I guess there's technically a lot of them. The one that was made off of a comic book, and
Max Payne.
no, I guess that's kind of like it though. But if it's trying to
Sin
be
City.
like that, Sin City is what I was thinking of. Thanks. But if it's trying to create an environment like Sin City where everybody's criminals and it's just a matter of where you are in the criminal hierarchy, but everybody's criminals, is John Wick supposed to be like that? Like everybody in the whole world is a bunch of criminals, and then these are just the elite of the criminals or something?
Well, and also
Well, it's a completely exaggerated world, So not only is it the ultra violence, but like you're talking about it being part of that world, it is comic book like. So the exaggerated sense there also is of how many, regardless of you counting rounds and seeing that he's been, now in the fourth in this fourth installment in this series is really good, and as are the rest of the actors in weapons handling. It's still a case of you got to be kidding me, kind of things, and how many stab wounds it takes for this one guy, or whatever it is. So some of it is already pretty fantastic. So it kind of doesn't bug me that it doesn't match the reality that we live in today.
Well, I do like I didn't really see any problems with the. I was trying to count rounds and make sure reloads and stuff. Make sure that was on point, and that was kind of difficult to do. And I'm just gonna say, for the most part, the gunplay is relatively accurate.
Yeah, I didn't disagree about that. It's more the idea say you have seen the most recent movie, so the steps scene. I mean, come on. Anytime you have something where it's one person or two people against more than 100, and they're still able to go to the next level, then face 75,
well,
and then
even
50.
Even that scene where they had the people working for the French boy, and they have.
No, I'm not trying to discuss the fort so much as I am the idea there, where you have a hero character who faces not only insurmountable odds, regardless of how realistic it has been to that point, and they overcome them so fantastically again and again that you have to have the willing suspension of disbelief. These are fictional things.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the first one. The second one I didn't like as much, and then I really liked the third one. And from what I've seen, I think I'll like the fourth one. My only, I haven't seen it, so the only concern is it's kind of a video game from the review that I saw.
Mm.
It's like a video game, and when there's too much action happening for too long, it gets kind of fatiguing just to watch.
That's one of the critiques I saw, is that people said their chief complaint is that the first two were great, but then 3 it started to kind of lay the foundation for what 4 was about to become, and what the guy said is basically chapter 4 is basically just Call of Duty random battle royale, endless gunfire and fights and close quarter stuff.
Well, for 3, the stuff with the dogs, I loved. I mean,
the stuff with the dogs was
why I
amazing.
loved that. I really liked 3 was because of that.
It's just what
Me too.
gets me, and I don't know if you guys care for spoilers, but spoilers. There's a lot of falling and getting hit by cars in 4, and it's just makes me sit there and go, "Dear God, how can you keep going?"
Yeah, there
Well,
was a
this all
really
takes
great
place
use
inside
in
the Matrix,
3,
right?
I'm sorry, what about the Matrix?
This all takes place inside the Matrix, right? They rebooted it, and he became John Wick.
Oh, that would
Easy
make a lot of sense,
explanation.
actually. Yeah.
It's by the same guys.
Make a call back to the Matrix. That'd be an interesting one.
The guy that's directing these movies was the stunt coordinator for the Matrix movies.
Oh, connecting dots here. One of the fan theories that I particularly liked, I saw on Reddit, was that the John Wick series is based off of the 5 stages of grief. And I thought that was particularly interesting because the first stage is denial, which the first John Wick, we see him mulling about in a semi-state of depression.
Which
where he's
stage
in-
do you get shot?
And
Yeah, I've been
no
doing this all
doubt.
wrong.
I think
And
somebody's going all Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on the Wick movies or something like that. I mean, come on, people will apply something to almost anything to grab someone's attention. My God,
Well,
it reminds
that's
me of like Fiction Studio in college where people were
well,
trying
they're
to get.
trying to establish
Go ahead.
themes, is what they're trying to establish as themes, and what the main
It'd be
themes
cool
that,
if the
that sticks out to them is the stages of grief. Which first one is denial, the second stage is anger, which is what John Wick Chapter 2 is all about. It's just pure anger, and then stage 3 is bargaining, which we see a lot in Chapter 3, where Wick is trying to get the bounty off his head, and then stage 4 is depression, and then 5 is acceptance.
Well, what I want to know is if 5 is going to be transcendence, if it follows the 4 stages of life. First one was infancy, then we got youth, then we have middle age, and then we have old age. So the afterlife, maybe 5? I'm totally being facetious, man.
What stage
Right.
does a probing start in?
Oh my, that's extra innings.
in the 5th one,
Barbecue?
he's going to push himself out of the Matrix doorway, and it'll be Bill and Ted running around, and then he'll push
There you go.
himself out, and it'll be like Johnny Mnemonic jumping out of a door, and it'll be all his roles that he's ever done, and then it'll all tie the Matrix into every role he's ever done.
As long as they end up surfing the big waves with Bodhi. Like, absolutely. That's the last door that he jumps out of. Sorry about that, Foss. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I didn't like Johnny Mnemonic. What's the other one? The name is kind of like Johnny Mnemonic.
What's the premise of it?
He's I don't remember what agency, but he's a cop, and they've got the electronic mask thing.
Is that what
It's got the
RoboCop or-
rotoscoping.
Oh, you mean Scanner Darkly?
Yeah, Scanner Darkly. I really like that one.
Oh yeah,
No doubt.
Philip K. Dick is awesome, dude.
The
Scanner
goddamn
Darkly.
bacon is here. Ancho Fett answered your question there, Baron. He says the stage 69 is the probing stage.
There you go.
I would have
Yeah,
thought it.
the director of Scanner Darkly is Richard Linklater. He's like one of my favorite directors, both for serious and not so serious stuff. His college, the first film was Slackers, shot as a college film. And then one of the stories about his youth is one of my favorites about the 1970s, Dazed and Confused. I mean, he's done more than a couple of films that people might not recognize him as a director because he's not one necessarily of name or of note. But good stuff out there. And Scanner Darkly, G's right. Adaptations like that are really great. And Philip K. Dick novels make great sci-fi fodder. So did William Gibson's.
Unrelated, DJ. This one's for you. I was looking at Josie and the Pussycats, and when they were coming out with the cartoon, they actually put a band together, a trio, kind of monkey style, and they did put out an album. And one of the ladies in the band was Cheryl Ladd.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time, man. That's the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was interesting, and I found some of the songs on YouTube's. Listened to them. Some are good. Some are kind of sound like they're cartoon background songs. But just something interesting.
Right on. I'll dial that in later.
Jafet said, I also really want to see more Keanu as Constantine.
Pretty good movie. Not sure if it was a good adaptation of the comics, but it's a good movie.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah. But considering what was coming out at the time it was made, I feel like it's pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
I have a question about tonight's bracket.
Oh, boy.
Well, there is not a bracket. I was given a cease and desist letter by the U.S. Bracketory Regulatory
Board of directors.
Agency.
You're gonna
So
let them push you around, tell you you'll let them bracket you.
So there won't be a bracket for a while. I'm talking to the National Bracket Association and trying to get it all settled. So until that's taken care of, there won't be any brackets.
There's a bracket
also-
racket where they'll try to shake you down and make you pay for bracket.
And
Yes.
Bracket Workers Local 417, they want to talk.
Best looking Russian World War II pistols.
Hodges
That's
said
that's the bracket topic.
Lizard overlords have decreed that there will be no more bracketing done. I somewhat recently watched Iron Sky, which Never Enough Ammo had talked about a couple of years ago.
Funny. Don't.
And the first one is better than the second one. But the kind of fun thing in the movies that I thought was there's a bunch of conspiracies that they use in the movie. You know, it starts off with the moon landing, and there's a Nazi base on the moon. But that is one of the old conspiracies that when we went to the moon, they found an alien base on the moon and ended up making a treaty so we didn't get blown up. And I'm so okay. I forgot to say, spoiler alert. The politicians being lizard people, that's in there. The hollow earth theory, that's in there. Thinking there was at least one more, but I really liked that they used them and they didn't. I can't quite say they didn't beat you over the head just because of the way the movies are.
Confirmed or they denied them, or
they're over the top to begin with, but they were woven into the story plot. They did that well. They're not great movies. They're just kind of fun movies. And in the second one, you get to see Hitler riding a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So
I like the one where I liked in the first one how the German scientist came up to claim I invented this new cable called the USB.
Yeah, it reminded me, the way the movie is reminded me a lot of the second Killer Tomato movie, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes 2, where it kind of, it's kind of over the top, not quite makes fun of itself, but it's almost on the edge of making fun of itself. Yeah. Nobody else has seen it?
I have
Too
not.
long ago to remember, man. Like Attack, that was something that we drug out of one of the smaller video stores in the 80s, and never grabbed it after. I don't think 2 came along at some party I can remember. kind of in the background thing. But should I go check that one out too? Sometimes your recommendations, I feel like I got hamstrung, man. Just like I'm stuck.
Well, the best part of for the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the second one, the best part is in the movie, they run out of money to make the movie. So they take sponsorships. Like they start talking about drinking. I can't remember if it's Coca-Cola or something.
What movie is this?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, the second one, too. And then they ride they ride quads, and they're like Kawasaki or something to end the movie. It's not a good movie. But better production values than the first movie, than the first Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. But
Is that Trauma?
no, I don't think so. I'm just looking. Oop.
I know it probably is a self-explanatory, but I have to ask, DJ, are you a host of a radio station or a DJ station?
No, man, that's in the past.
That's in the
But
past.
I do hang out with Guns. But I do hang out with fellow panelists, Guns and Barbecue, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say you have the golden voice. It sounds like from me listening to you.
Careful, man. You say something about Golden around barbecue, he's going to make bad jokes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at my expense.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. So the whole UFO sightings thing.
It's going to happen anyways.
Yeah, no doubt. So UFO sightings is where some of the conversation started, and so I looked up in advance a website that had UFO sightings that have been reported, and I pulled up Omaha's, and that's where I am tonight. And so, Foss, with permission, go ahead.
After you tell that story, look up UFO sighting for Hermitage, Pennsylvania, 2017.
All right. Write that down.
Yeah, when Jimmy Carter was running for president, he said he would look into the UFO. Once he became president, he was asked by a reporter, "What's up with the UFOs?" And he said, "Well, nothing to see here. Sorry." So they got to Carter.
Yep.
But so what were you saying, DJ?
Well, it's a website that I found. I'm on Barbecue's mission right now. I'll come back on that, and then maybe share a couple that were reported in the Omaha area. Some of the descriptions are kind of funny. They're like user submitted kind of things.
That right, the second.
But Return of the Killer Tomatoes, the second Attack of the Killer Tomatoes movie. George Clooney was in that. A young George Clooney.
Nice.
And it's Pepsi that they
I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't seen a UFO, and maybe I was looking at one and just didn't note it. But we're ranked 13th for most UFO sightings of all time.
So, Iron Road, is the reason that you've never seen an alien just because they always approach you from behind and probe you?
No, this is just because I'm never out late long enough to get abducted.
So you're saying you've never been probed?
Nope.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I think we beat this one into the ground.
I came in without
Baron's
knowing
poll.
what the topic was.
What's the best way to take my poll? And on that note.
Yeah. Oh. So, well, I think it's a short one tonight. Barbecue.
Whew.
Plug something.
I thought Baron was doing all the plugging tonight. Book club tomorrow night on Anfi. We are going to discuss the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. So be there or be square. It's going to be absolutely riveting. So I hope everybody listening tunes in. Hopefully everybody listening read the book and joins the panel if they can. So other than that, I really don't know what else to plug. Thanks for having me on as always, Fuss. And yeah, I'm just gonna shut up now.
DJ?
Yodel on Saturday evenings on the 8th Grade Start Shooting School channel. Brooke Cheney hosts a conversation about suicide, mental health awareness. The firearms community should take note. Stop by. If you aren't subbed, please do so. If you got some time on Saturdays, join the conversation. Another thing that is a good thing is to engage in the comment section on that channel as well. She's really good about commenting back. So is Foss, and if no one else says so, every other Saturday you need to get back to this channel and join those overnight conversations. They're a good time. Until I see everybody again.
That reminds me, we were going to do overnight this weekend. I forgot to mention that. Because might not be able to do it the weekend after, so we'll move it to this weekend.
Yeah, I'm busy.
So we'll do one this weekend. This coming up Saturday.
So check that out. An opportunity not so many days away. And so if I don't see you there, be safe, have fun, carry your guns, and rock.
Iron Road, anything you want to plug?
Not really. I'm just lackadaisical, lazy person, to be honest. Oh, maybe that's one thing I've been wanting to say. There's been some action, according to Oregon Firearms Federation, some goings-on in the Oregon State Legislature where they are looking to clamp down on even harder
on my poll.
No, not that. On the gun owners, particularly. And just when you thought 114 was bad, they are looking to clamp down even harder on gun owners and make it even more impossible. One of the bills seems to want to violate your rights by retroactively charging you with a crime if they can prove that you bought a magazine after the effective December 12th date when 114 was supposed to go into effective, despite the fact that it was put into legal litigation.
Those are some of the most dangerous magazines. I can't imagine a civilian being in possession of them.
Time, Rolling Stone.
Oh, let's see here. Recent
Bunch of terrorists.
Saturday Evening Post.
Read as such from Oregon Firearms Federation. The 28th Oregon House and Senate are in a pitched battle to see which chamber can create the most erroneous unconstitutional attack on gun owners. There's, as you know, SB 348 moving through the Senate. It's a fever dream by Floyd Prozansky. And there's another one called HB 205, not 205, but 2005, 2006, 2007, and then 2005-1.
Fun times. G-Webs. Making the Mr. Knives. I want one of those.
That's true. I was thinking about, since these are Mr. Knives patches, letting Mr. Knives decide who gets these patches. I was just thinking about that. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these, but I am making some Mr. Knives patches over there. I also have a prepared written statement I'd like to read, if I can take the time. This has to do with brackets and the attitude about brackets and the lack of brackets and overnight shows. It's 25 pages long. I've bracketed it with 2 smaller presentations, but I'm not ready for them. So next time I'm going to present
Well, you can also submit the written for the
Testimony.
record.
Mhm.
Yeah. Baron, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can catch me Wednesday nights on the Tactical Quiz kicking AI ass. That's about it.
Oh,
A 22 quiz and a 9mm quiz. Anybody think they could handle the 9mm quiz, or you got to shut it down?
what's that?
I'll be there.
It's not a bracket. I got the 9mm quiz right here, literally right here. Do you think you could handle it? It's very difficult. Baron missed 2 questions on it.
Uh-oh. Well, yeah, we're closing her down.
All right.
Sweeping the floors, turning the chairs over. And so this weekend we will do an overnight. Appreciate everybody that was out there in the chat, chatting it up. And those who might have been watching that didn't say anything, I appreciate you too. And if you watch this in replay, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Other than that, wrong one. There we go. Appreciate everybody, and I hope you have a good rest of the night.